Hello everyone and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today. Our presentation is titled Natural Resources, and this is the first slide, so I want to start by giving you a quick overview. We'll explore what natural resources are, why they are important, and how they impact our world. So let's dive in and discover the valuable resources our planet offers us. Today, we're going to explore the various resources on Earth that sustain life and support human activities. We'll start by looking at the different components of natural resources, which include things like minerals, forests, and fossil fuels. These resources are essential for our daily lives and economic development. Moving on, we'll delve into water, which is truly a wonder liquid. It's vital for all living beings and plays a key role in many ecological processes. Next, we'll discuss biogeochemical cycles, which are the natural pathways through which elements like carbon, nitrogen, and water circulate within the Earth and its ecosystems. Understanding these cycles helps us appreciate how interconnected our environment truly is. We'll also cover the soil, a crucial component that supports plant growth and sustains agriculture. Finally, we'll touch on the ozone layer, which acts as Earth's sunscreen by protecting us from harmful ultraviolet radiation. These topics are all interconnected and highlight the importance of preserving our natural resources to maintain a healthy planet. Today, I want to talk about resources on the Earth. When we think about resources, we're referring to the materials that are available on our planet that support life and human activity. These resources can be categorized into natural resources like water, minerals, forests, and fossil fuels. They are the foundation of our economy and daily life. It's important to understand that these resources are finite, meaning they can be depleted if we don't use them responsibly. Highlighting the key point here, sustainable management of Earth's resources is crucial to ensure that future generations can meet their needs. This involves balancing resource extraction with conservation efforts. As we move through this presentation, keep in mind that our relationship with Earth's resources directly impacts the environment, economy, and social well-being. Understanding these resources helps us appreciate their value and the importance of protecting them. Let's explore the resources on Earth that sustain life and support our activities. The natural resources of the Earth include air, water, soil, minerals, and living organisms. These are essential for our survival and for the functioning of ecosystems. The Earth's outer crust is known as the lithosphere, which is rich in minerals and supports soil formation. Water, which covers a large part of our planet, belongs to the hydrosphere, vital for all living things. The layer of air surrounding the Earth is called the atmosphere, and it provides us with oxygen and other gases necessary for breathing. Living organisms, meanwhile, are found where these spheres, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere, interact. This zone is called the biosphere, and it's the cradle of all life on Earth. Recognizing how these resources and layers connect helps us appreciate the complexity and importance of conserving our planet's natural assets, which is a core theme of this presentation. Today, I want to talk about the components of natural resources. When we look at natural resources, we're essentially considering the different elements provided by nature that are valuable to us. These components can be broadly categorized into renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are those that can be replenished naturally over time, like sunlight, wind, water, and forests. They are vital because they can sustain us if managed properly. On the other hand, non-renewable resources, such as minerals, oil, and coal, are finite. Once they're used up, they can't be replaced within a human lifespan. Understanding these components is crucial because it directly impacts how we manage and conserve our environment. Recognizing what natural resources consist of helps us appreciate their importance and the need for sustainable practices, which ties into the overall theme of responsible resource management and environmental stewardship. Let's talk about the air, or what we often call the atmosphere. Air is actually a mixture of different gases, including nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and some other gases as well. Now, these gases play crucial roles in various natural processes. For instance, during respiration, living organisms like humans, animals, and even some bacteria use oxygen to break down glucose. This process releases energy, which powers all their activities. An important byproduct of this process is carbon dioxide, which is released back into the air. Similarly, when we burn fuels, like gasoline or coal, it consumes oxygen and produces carbon dioxide. So both respiration and combustion are ways in which oxygen is used and carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. Now here's where green plants come into the picture. Through photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide from the air and, using sunlight, convert it into glucose. This process not only produces food for the plant, but also releases oxygen back into the air. All of these processes, respiration, combustion, and photosynthesis, are interconnected and help maintain a balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide in our environment. This balance is vital for sustaining life on Earth and keeping our atmosphere healthy. The atmosphere plays a crucial role in climate control, acting much like a blanket wrapped around the Earth. Now, why is that important? Well, air is actually a poor conductor of heat, which means it doesn't transfer heat very efficiently. This characteristic is key because it helps prevent the Earth's temperature from skyrocketing during the day. Without this, the heat from the sun would cause extreme temperature rises. At the same time, the atmosphere also slows down the escape of heat during the night. So, it traps some of the warmth and keeps the temperature from dropping too rapidly. This balancing act is essential for maintaining a fairly steady temperature overall. In essence, the atmosphere helps smooth out the temperature fluctuations we might otherwise experience. It keeps our climate stable, supporting life and weather patterns. This is a fundamental part of how Earth's climate system functions, ensuring that temperatures remain relatively consistent throughout the day and across seasons. When air gets heated, it naturally rises upwards, creating an area of low pressure below. In response, cooler air moves in to fill that space, and this movement of air is what we experience as winds. During the day, the land heats up much faster than the sea. As a result, the hot air rises above the land, and cooler air from the sea moves in to replace it, creating a breeze from the sea to the land. Conversely, at night, the sea cools down more slowly than the land. So the hot air above the sea rises, and cooler air from the land moves back toward the sea. These daily changes in air movement are key to understanding local weather patterns and how heat transfer occurs between land and sea. When the water bodies, like lakes and rivers, get heated during the day, a significant amount of water turns into vapor and rises into the air. This process is called evaporation. But it's not just the sun that causes water to evaporate. Biological activities like transpiration, where plants release water vapor, also contribute to this. As the water vapor ascends, it encounters cooler temperatures in the atmosphere, which causes it to cool down and condense into tiny droplets of water. These droplets come together to form clouds, which are essentially visible collections of water vapor. When enough of these tiny droplets combine and grow larger, they become heavy enough to fall back to the earth as rain, snow, or hail, depending on the temperature. This entire process is a key part of the water cycle, helping to move water around our planet and sustain life. Let's talk about air pollution. This term refers to the increase in harmful substances in the air we breathe. Now, these substances mainly come from burning fossil fuels like coal and petroleum. Interestingly, these fuels contain small amounts of nitrogen and sulfur. When we burn them, they release oxides of sulfur and nitrogen into the atmosphere. These oxides can dissolve in rain, leading to a phenomenon called acid rain, which can harm ecosystems and buildings. Another impact of burning fossil fuels is the release of unburnt carbon particles, which can reduce visibility, making the air hazy or foggy. During cold weather, these particles combine with condensed water vapor to form smog, which is a mixture of smoke and fog that can be quite harmful to health. It's important to understand that breathing air contaminated with these harmful substances isn't just unpleasant. It can lead to serious health problems like allergies, cancer, and heart diseases. So, reducing air pollution is crucial for our health and the environment, and it ties directly into the overall theme of protecting our planet and ourselves. Water is truly a wonder liquid. It's essential for all forms of life and plays such a crucial role in our daily existence. When we think about water, we often focus on its physical properties, but its significance goes far beyond that. It has the unique ability to exist in 3 states: liquid, solid, and gas, which makes it incredibly versatile. This versatility helps sustain ecosystems, regulate climate, and support agriculture. Moreover, water's role in maintaining homeostasis in our bodies is vital. It helps regulate temperature, transport nutrients, and remove waste. Without enough water, our health is compromised, which highlights just how important it is to manage and conserve this precious resource wisely. Connecting this to our overall theme, water exemplifies how something seemingly simple can be a cornerstone of life and sustainability. It reminds us to appreciate and protect this incredible resource because our future depends on it. Water truly is a wonder liquid. You see, a vast part of the Earth's surface is covered with water, making it essential for life as we know it. Water isn't just on the surface, it's also inside the Earth and in the atmosphere, mainly as water vapor. Now, the water in seas and oceans is salty, saline, while fresh water, which is what most living creatures rely on, is found in rivers, lakes, ponds, and even as ice and snow at the poles and in cold mountain regions. Why is water so important? Well, every living organism needs water because all life processes and cellular activities depend on it. Without water, life simply wouldn't be possible. But there's more. The amount of water available, along with factors like temperature and soil type, actually influences how many different species can live in a particular area and how many individuals of each species there are. So, in essence, water isn't just a liquid. It's a fundamental key to understanding the diversity and balance of life on Earth. It connects directly to the overall health of ecosystems and the survival of countless species. Water pollution refers to the increase in the amount of harmful substances in our water sources. It's essentially when water becomes contaminated with things that shouldn't be there. These harmful substances can come from a variety of sources. For example, fertilizers and pesticides from farms often wash into nearby rivers and lakes, adding chemicals that can be toxic to aquatic life. Sewage from towns, cities, and factories also contributes significantly, introducing pathogens and pollutants into the water. Additionally, harmful chemicals released directly from factories, such as industrial waste, can severely degrade water quality. All of these sources add substances that threaten the health of our ecosystems and even our own health if we consume contaminated water. Understanding these causes helps us see how human activities directly impact water quality. It's important to recognize that water pollution links to our overall goal of protecting our environment and ensuring clean, safe water for everyone. Now, let's talk about soil. Soil is fundamentally important because it forms the foundation for plant growth and, ultimately, the entire ecosystem. When we consider soil, we're looking at a complex mixture of minerals, organic matter, water, and air. This combination creates a dynamic environment that supports life below the surface. Healthy soil is vital for agriculture, ensuring crops have the nutrients they need to grow. It also plays a crucial role in filtering water, reducing erosion, and storing carbon. As we explore sustainable practices, understanding soil's composition and health becomes even more essential. In the context of our overall theme, soil acts as the foundation for everything: sustainable development, food security, and environmental stability. Protecting and maintaining healthy soil is not just about agriculture. It's about safeguarding the very ground we stand on for future generations. Soil is formed through the gradual breakdown of rocks on the Earth's surface, and this process involves physical, chemical, and biological factors working together. One key factor is the sun's heat during the day, which causes rocks to expand. Then, at night, the temperature drops and the rocks contract. This expansion and contraction creates stress within the rocks, leading to cracks and eventually breaking them into smaller pieces. Strong winds also play a role by physically smashing rocks into tiny particles and moving these particles from one place to another, helping in the soil formation process. Water is another crucial element. When it seeps into the cracks in rocks, it can freeze and expand, forcing the cracks to widen and the rocks to break apart further. As water flows over these broken pieces, it causes them to rub against each other, gradually turning into even smaller particles. Additionally, the roots of large trees can grow into these cracks, exerting physical pressure that helps break the rocks apart. And don't forget about lichens. These tiny organisms grow on rocks and produce substances that help turn the rock surface into powder, contributing to soil formation. All these processes, heating, cooling, wind erosion, water action, plant roots, and lichens, work together over time, transforming solid rocks into the soil that supports life on Earth. Today, I want to talk about the composition of soil. Soil is essentially a mixture of different components, including rock particles, which form the foundation. It also contains decayed organisms, commonly known as humus, which plays a vital role in enriching the soil. In addition, soil hosts a variety of living organisms that contribute to its health and fertility. Minerals are also present, providing essential nutrients for plant growth. Air and water are equally important, as they help sustain the living organisms within the soil and facilitate nutrient exchange. The key point here is that the proportions of minerals, humus, air, and water directly influence the biodiversity in that area. So, understanding this composition helps us appreciate how different soils support various forms of life and ecosystems. Soil pollution refers to the addition of harmful substances to the soil, which negatively impacts its fertility and the diverse range of organisms that live there. When we talk about soil pollution, we're really focusing on how human activities, like overusing fertilizers and pesticides, are causing these problems. These chemicals don't just stay harmless, they can actually kill vital organisms such as earthworms and bacteria. These tiny creatures play a crucial role in making the soil rich in humus, which is essential for healthy plant growth. When these beneficial components are removed or replaced with harmful substances, the soil's natural balance gets disrupted. This reduction in fertility makes it harder for plants to grow and contributes to ongoing soil degradation. Ultimately, soil pollution isn't just about dirty ground. It's about how our actions threaten the health of the entire ecosystem that depends on healthy soil to thrive. This ties into our overall theme of understanding environmental impacts and finding ways to protect and restore our natural resources. Soil erosion, as many of you know, is the process where soil is carried away from one place to another, primarily by flowing water and wind. It's a natural process, but it can become a serious problem when it happens on a large scale. For instance, when we clear forests through deforestation, it often accelerates soil erosion because there are fewer roots to hold the soil in place. This can lead to the loss of fertile topsoil, which is vital for healthy plant growth. To combat soil erosion, there are several effective strategies we can implement. One of the most important is maintaining vegetative cover on the ground. Plants, grasses, and shrubs help anchor the soil and prevent it from washing or blowing away. Afforestation, or planting trees in deforested areas, also plays a crucial role in stabilizing the soil. Additionally, constructing physical barriers like bunds, terraces, and dams can significantly reduce the speed of water flow, thereby minimizing erosion. These structures help manage water runoff and protect the land. Overall, implementing these methods not only helps prevent soil erosion, but also contributes to sustainable land management, which is essential for our environment and agriculture. Now let's look at how flowing water can cause soil erosion. To demonstrate this, I've set up an activity with 2 trays of the same size, both filled with soil. In one tray, I've planted mustard or green gram, and I've watered both trays regularly over several days. You can see that the tray with the plants has become covered with green growth, while the other tray remains bare. Next, I tilt both trays at the same angle and gently pour an equal amount of water over each one. What we observe is that the bare soiled tray loses much more soil. More of it is washed away, compared to the tray with plant cover. This simple experiment clearly shows us that vegetative cover, like the plants we see here, plays a crucial role in reducing soil erosion. It acts as a protective layer that helps hold the soil in place, even when water flows over the surface. So, in the context of our overall theme, this highlights how important planting vegetation, is for conserving soil and preventing erosion, especially in areas prone to heavy rains or runoff. Let's take a closer look at biogeochemical cycles. These cycles are crucial because they describe how essential elements and compounds move through both living organisms and the physical environment. Think of them as Earth's way of recycling nutrients, ensuring that everything stays in balance. For example, elements like carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus don't just stay in one place. They cycle through the atmosphere, land, water, and living organisms. This interconnected movement is vital for sustaining life on our planet. Understanding these cycles helps us see how human activities might disrupt natural processes, which ties back into the overall theme of maintaining environmental health. Recognizing these cycles emphasizes the importance of preserving natural balances for a sustainable future. Let's take a closer look at biogeochemical cycles. These are essential processes that describe how matter and energy move between living organisms and the non-living environment. They ensure the flow of nutrients necessary for life. The main biogeochemical cycles we focus on are the water cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, and the oxygen cycle. Each of these cycles plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of ecosystems. For example, the water cycle involves evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, which distribute water across the planet. The nitrogen cycle is crucial for converting nitrogen into forms that plants can use, supporting plant growth. The carbon cycle helps regulate atmospheric carbon dioxide, impacting climate and living organisms. And the oxygen cycle, which is closely linked to photosynthesis and respiration, keeps oxygen levels balanced. Understanding these cycles is fundamental to grasping how ecosystems function and how interconnected all life on Earth truly is. Let's talk about the water cycle. When water bodies like lakes, rivers, or oceans get heated during the day, a significant amount of water turns into vapor and rises into the air. This process is called evaporation. But it's not just the water from these bodies. Biological activities such as transpiration from plants and respiration also release water vapor into the atmosphere. As this water vapor rises, it cools down and condenses into tiny droplets, forming clouds. Now, when these tiny droplets collide and stick together, they form larger drops of water. Eventually, these drops become heavy enough and fall back to the ground as rain, snow, or hail, depending on the temperature. Some of this water seeps into the ground, creating groundwater stores, which are crucial for many ecosystems and human use. Finally, as water flows from land to seas, it carries nutrients and minerals along with it. These are vital for marine life, supporting the entire oceanic food chain. This continuous movement highlights how interconnected our water sources are and why maintaining this cycle is essential for life on Earth. Let's talk about the nitrogen cycle, which is a fascinating process essential for life. The nitrogen in our atmosphere is actually inert, so it needs to be transformed into usable forms for living organisms. This is where nitrogen-fixing bacteria come into play, residing in the root nodules of leguminous plants. They convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogen compounds like ammonium. Interestingly, lightning also helps fix nitrogen, creating nitrogen compounds in the soil. These nitrogen compounds are then absorbed by plants, which use them to build proteins, crucial molecules for growth and function. When animals eat these plants, they also gain proteins, continuing the cycle. When plants and animals die, bacteria step in again, breaking down proteins into simpler nitrogen compounds like nitrites and nitrates. Other bacteria then convert these nitrates back into atmospheric nitrogen, completing the cycle. This entire process highlights how nitrogen is constantly recycled in ecosystems, making it an essential element for biological molecules such as proteins, nucleic acids, and some vitamins. Understanding this cycle helps us appreciate how interconnected life and the environment truly are. Let's take a closer look at the carbon cycle. Carbon, primarily in the form of carbon dioxide, plays a crucial role in supporting life on Earth. Plants use this carbon dioxide during photosynthesis to make glucose, which is their way of storing energy. This process is fundamental because it forms the base of the food chain and helps regulate atmospheric carbon levels. Once plants produce glucose, they use it for energy or convert it into other organic compounds. When animals eat these plants, the carbon in the organic molecules enters their bodies. During respiration, animals break down these compounds to release energy, and in the process, they produce carbon dioxide, which is then released back into the atmosphere. Another important aspect of the carbon cycle is combustion. When we burn fossil fuels like coal and petroleum for energy, we release a significant amount of carbon dioxide into the air. This human activity has a big impact on the cycle and contributes to climate change. Additionally, organic materials from plants and animals can be transformed into carbonates, limestone, coal, and petroleum over millions of years. Even the shells of some animals, like mollusks, contain calcium carbonate, which is part of this long-term storage. Finally, carbon is not just a part of the cycle, it's a vital component of many biological molecules. It's found in carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and nucleic acids, all essential for life. So, in essence, the carbon cycle is a continuous movement of carbon through different forms and reservoirs, connecting all living things and the environment. Let's talk about the oxygen cycle. Oxygen in the atmosphere plays a crucial role in many processes. For example, it's used in respiration, which is how organisms convert food into energy. It's also involved in combustion, like when things burn, and in forming oxides of elements, which are compounds that include oxygen. But here's the interesting part. Oxygen doesn't just get used up, it gets recycled. During photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and water, and they release oxygen back into the atmosphere. This cycle is vital for maintaining the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide around us. Now, oxygen isn't just about breathing or combustion. It's also a fundamental building block of biological molecules. Think about carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. These are essential to all living organisms, and oxygen is an integral part of their structure. So overall, the oxygen cycle highlights how interconnected life and the environment are. It demonstrates how oxygen is constantly moving between the atmosphere and living things, supporting life and various natural processes. Now let's take a closer look at the greenhouse effect. Essentially, it's a natural process where certain gases in our atmosphere trap heat from the sun, keeping our planet warm enough to support life. Without this effect, Earth would be too cold for us to survive. The key players here are greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. They act like a blanket, allowing sunlight to enter, but preventing some of that heat from escaping back into space. This process is crucial for maintaining a stable climate, but human activities, like burning fossil fuels and deforestation, have increased these gases significantly. As a result, more heat gets trapped, leading to global warming and climate change. Understanding the greenhouse effect helps us see why reducing greenhouse gas emissions is so important. It connects directly to our overall theme of environmental responsibility and the need for sustainable solutions to protect our planet. The greenhouse effect is a crucial concept to understand when we talk about climate change. Gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, play a key role here. They trap the heat that the Earth radiates back into space, essentially acting like a blanket around our planet. When these gases increase in the atmosphere, they cause more heat to be retained, which leads to a rise in global temperatures. This warming has serious consequences. For example, it can cause polar ice to melt, which then contributes to rising sea levels. As sea levels rise, coastal areas can become flooded, and some islands might even become submerged. These changes are interconnected and highlight how the greenhouse effect directly impacts our environment and ultimately our way of life. Understanding this helps us see why addressing these gases and their sources is so important for the health of our planet. All right, let's talk about the ozone layer. The ozone layer is a crucial part of our atmosphere that acts like a protective shield around the Earth. It absorbs most of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation, which is essential for protecting living organisms, including us humans. Without this layer, we'd be exposed to dangerous UV rays that can cause skin cancer, cataracts, and harm to marine and plant life. Over the years, human activities, especially the use of certain chemicals like chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs, have damaged this delicate layer. This damage leads to the thinning of the ozone layer, most famously seen in the ozone hole over Antarctica. Recognizing the importance of the ozone layer has led to international efforts, like the Montreal Protocol, to reduce the substances that harm it. Understanding and protecting the ozone layer ties back to our overall theme of environmental health and sustainability. It reminds us of how our actions can impact the planet and highlights the importance of collective responsibility to preserve these vital natural shields for future generations. Let's talk about the ozone layer. The ozone molecule, which is made up of 3 oxygen atoms, O3, is found in the upper layers of our atmosphere. Now, while it's a poisonous gas, it plays a crucial role in protecting our planet. It acts like a shield, blocking out the harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Without this layer, these UV rays could cause serious damage to living organisms on Earth. However, this vital layer is under threat. It's being damaged mainly by carbon compounds called chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs. These are chemicals that were once common in refrigeration and aerosols. To safeguard the ozone layer, efforts are being made worldwide to reduce the use of CFCs. So, in the context of our overall discussion on environmental protection, preserving the ozone layer is essential because it helps maintain the balance necessary for life on Earth. By reducing the use of harmful chemicals like CFCs, we're taking steps to protect this critical component of our atmosphere.